Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, what is the difference between ArrayList and HashSet in Java? Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. First of all, what is the difference between ArrayList and HashSet? Let me explain. And here we have ArrayList and here we have the HashSet. And these are the different differences between the ArrayList and HashSet that I'm going to explain as part of answer for this particular question. Okay. So let's begin. First of all, the common thing between the ArrayList and HashSet is they both belong to the collections framework. Okay. These are the predefined classes under the collections framework. If I have to write something here like about this ArrayList and HashSet, the common thing, this side I'll write ArrayList and this side, just to write the differences between ArrayList and HashSet, this side I'll write HashSet. Okay, this side I'll write ArrayList and this side I'll write HashSet. So what is the difference between the ArrayList and HashSet in Java? The common point. The first common point is these are the two predefined classes which belong to the collections framework. You have to mention this, okay? Before you start explaining about the difference between ArrayList and HashSet as part of this question, you have to say that both belong to the concept known as collections framework, okay? Under collections framework topic or concept in Java, this ArrayList and HashSet are two different predefined classes. So coming to the ArrayList, okay, it follows indexing concept. That means the element that is stored at the first position in the array list will be stored at the index 0, whereas the second element that is stored into this array list will be stored at the index 1 and so on. Okay, but here there is no indexing, guys. In case of HashSet, there is no indexing. Okay, there is no indexing concept. Like that, many differences are there, guys. This is a major difference between the array list and HashSet. In array list, there is a concept known as indexing, where all the elements stored into this array list, okay, all the elements that are stored into this array list will be stored according to a particular index. Because of this particular index, the order in which you are storing the elements will be preserved. Order will be preserved. The same order in which we have stored the elements into the array list, okay, we have stored the elements into the array list. They will be saved into the computer memory in the same order. Order of storing will be preserved. Preserved in array list, the order will be preserved, guys. Whereas in the HashSet, order, it's a random order, guys. All the elements that are added to the HashSet will be stored into the memory in a random order. Okay, it will not follow the same order in which you have added the elements to the HashSet. Rather, the elements will be stored in a random order. So indexing concept, no indexing concept. Indexing concept, order will be preserved. No indexing concept, random order. Next thing is here, because of the indexing concept, okay, duplicates are allowed. You can add any number of duplicates. You can store any number of duplicate elements to this array list, because a duplicate element stored at a particular index will be different from a duplicate element stored at a different index. So duplicates are allowed in the array list, whereas here duplicates are ignored, guys. You'll not get any error, but duplicates are ignored. That means out of all the duplicate elements, only one element will be considered. So you'll not get any error or something, but duplicates will be ignored here in case of the HashSet, okay? Indexing, order will be preserved, duplicates are allowed. Here, no indexing, random order, duplicates are ignored. And here, to add the elements into this array list, we have to use add method. Here also same thing, guys. Here also the same thing. Okay, these are the common things. Here also we have the same add method for adding the elements into the HashSet. Whether you go with array list or HashSet, if you want to add the elements into the array list or HashSet, the common things are like they both belong to the collection framework, and also add method is used for adding the elements into the array list or HashSet. Okay, but these are the differences. These are the common things. What I'm writing on the line are the common stuff. But to retrieve the elements from the array list with the help of the indexing concept, we have a command known as get of index command. Okay, to retrieve or access the elements that are stored in the array list with the help of the index, we can access. But do we have any get command? Here, no get command. No get command. We cannot use any get command to retrieve this, because the elements will be stored in random order, and there is no such kind of get command to retrieve a particular element from the HashSet. Okay, fine. What else is there? What else is the difference between the array list and HashSet? Few differences are already mentioned, like indexing, order will be preserved, duplicates are allowed, Okay, get of index command is there. Here, no indexing, random order, duplicates are ignored. No get command is there here. Like that, differences are there, guys. Let's see if any other things are left. Yeah, coming to the loops, guys. Coming to the loops, we can, since indexing concept is there, we can use traditional for loop, general for loop, guys. Traditional for loop means general for loop. Along with the traditional for loop, we can also use for each loop, also enhanced for loop. That is for each loop also you can use enhanced for loop, or for each loop also you can use, guys. A traditional for loop, normal for loop, where indexing concept can be used in the for loop. Whereas this side, guys, we can only use for each loop. No traditional for loop. No traditional for loop. With the help of indexing, traditional for loop will iterate, right? No traditional for loop is possible. Okay, you cannot use a traditional for loop because indexing concept is not there. Still, what exactly are the differences we have? Let's find it out. Yeah, let's confirm again. Array list, indexing concept is there. In HashSet, no indexing concept that I covered. Duplicates are allowed here because of the indexing concept, right? At multiple indexes, the same element can be stored. So duplicate elements are allowed at different indexes and they can be considered different. Whereas in HashSet, since no indexing concept is there and the elements will be stored in the random order, unordered collection or random order, right? Here guys, duplicates are not allowed. That means it will not give you any compiler error, etc., or any other runtime errors you will not get. But instead, it will ignore. HashSet will ignore the duplicate elements and will consider only one element out of the duplicate elements. So here traditional for loop, here no traditional for loop, here for each loop, here also for each loop. Okay. Yeah, both the case for each loop we can use, guys. This is a common thing. For each loop is a common thing, but the difference is traditional for loop, no traditional for loop. So I can make a difference here in the explanation where here for each loop is common, guys. For each loop is common. Okay, here I'll just take it here. Okay, for each loop is common, whereas here only the thing that I have to differentiate here is for each loop is common for both. Whereas traditional for loop is allowed here in the array list because of the indexing concept. Traditional for loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than kind of loop we can use here, but here we cannot use traditional for loop. But the common thing is for each loop can be used with array list and HashSet. Along with the for each loop, what is the other common way of iterating the array list and HashSet is we can also use iterator interface and iterator method, okay, to iterate as next and next methods we can use to iterate. These are the common stuff, guys, because the question is asking us about the differences, right? I'm covering like this. These are the common things, but the differences are like this: indexing, no indexing, order will be preserved, random order, duplicates are allowed, duplicates are ignored. Get of index command is there, no get command is there here for accessing. There is no such command for accessing the elements. Only for adding the elements, we have the same add method here and here. Traditional for loop is there here. We cannot use traditional for loop in the HashSet because there is no indexing concept. But other type of loops like for each loop and iterator interface with iterator method, for it iterating we can use with ArrayList and HashSet. Okay, that you have to know. What else? What else we have? I think I covered almost all things, guys. Only one thing that is left is the parent interface of the ArrayList is list interface. List interface is the parent interface of the ArrayList predefined class, whereas here set interface is a parent interface of the HashSet. Okay, and the common thing, common interface, common grandparent interface with ArrayList and HashSet is, what is the common grandparent interface? Collection is a grandparent interface, which is a common grandparent interface but both ArrayList and HashSet. Under the collection interface, parent child interface, list interface will be there. Under the list interface, we'll have the ArrayList. Here under the collection interface, we have the child interface as set interface. Under set interface, we have the HashSet. But the immediate parent of the ArrayList is list interface. The immediate parent of the HashSet class is the set interface. Okay, you have to understand these things, guys. Hope guys you got the idea about the differences between the theoretically ArrayList and HashSet. Let me practically demonstrate this thing for you. For that, I'll switch to this Eclipse ID in one of these projects. I'll go here and did I create anything related to collections framework, etc.? No, right? Collections framework pack. I'll just create one package, guys. Collections framework pack. Like this, I'll create a thing. And here under this, I'll create a class, guys. I'll just say ArrayList demo. ArrayList demo with the main method I'll create. I'll explain one by one. First, I'll create an ArrayList, guys. First, I'll create an ArrayList. Inside this main method of this class, I'm going to create an array list, guys, like this. Array list A list is equal to new array list. A list is equal to new array list. Control Shift O, and here generic type I have to provide, guys. Let's say integer I'll provide, otherwise integer type of objects I would like to store here. Optionally, you can provide integer or you can keep the less than greater than symbol empty. But this declaration side, you have to give the generic type. This is how we have to create the array list, guys. After creating the array list, this particular predefined class is from collections framework. Okay. So now I need to add the elements to the array list. A list dot add of. If I say 9 here, this 9 will be stored at the index 0, guys. Okay. This 9 will be stored at the index 0. This 9 will be stored at the index 0. Index 0. This is index 0, guys. Okay. A list dot add of 7. If I say here, indexing concept will be there in the array list, guys. In the array list, the elements will be stored according to the index value. At the index 1, the 7 will be stored. Then if I say a list dot add of 5, okay, at the index 2, at the index 2, 5 got stored. A list dot add of, then say 2, let's say 2. Here at the index 3, at the index 3, element 2 is stored. A list dot add of 8. Here at the index 4, this got stored. A list dot add of, let's say 3. At the index 5, this 3 element is stored, and so on. Okay. So all the elements are being stored according to the given index, guys. This is the indexing concept will be there in the array list, guys. Whereas in the HashSet, indexing concept won't be there. In the HashSet, indexing concept is not there, but in the array list, indexing concept is there. And what are the other differences? Indexing concept I just now covered. Indexing concept I just now covered. Order will be preserved, guys. The order in which you are adding the elements to the array list will be preserved. If you, after adding, right, if you print it out, system.out.print it out, system.out.println a list. If I say, I'll add more elements, guys. Otherwise, I'll add more elements like 22. 22 element is being stored at index 6. Then a list dot add. You can see the order is preserved here, like 99, index 7. Then here I'll say a list dot add of 17. Okay, this is index 8. Okay, then final one, a list dot add of 134. Okay, this is index 9. Total 10 elements are there, guys. 0 to 9 means 10 elements are there. And when I print the object reference of this array list using the add method, we have added all the elements to the array list and they got added according to the index, right? I told you here, right? This both the classes are from the collections framework, and we have to use add method for adding the elements to the array list, and same add method we have to use for adding the asset. Okay, then what is the thing? Using the add method added, and I told you about the indexing concept. Okay, indexing concept. These are the indexing concept. Now, if I run this code and observe that if I print the object reference of this array list, right, all the elements that are stored in the array list will be printed in the output console. When you print the object reference of the array list, all the elements that are got stored into the array list will be printed. And see that the first 9 got printed, then 7, then 5. You see the same order in which we have added the elements to the array list. In the same order, they got stored into the memory, computer memory, and when retrieved also, we are getting the same order. That means order is preserved, guys. The order is preserved here. The order of the elements is preserved here. Okay, the order in which you are adding the elements, first element, second element, third element, same order, they got stored into the memory. Because of the indexing concept, the order will be preserved here. Okay. So now the next thing here is the order is preserved. You understood the order in which you have added the elements into the array list, the same order got preserved because of the indexing concept. Because of the indexing concept, order will be preserved. Third thing is duplicates are allowed, guys. Here, if I try to add any duplicate element like a list dot add of 9 again. Okay, I'm just repeating this 9, guys. Already 9 is at the beginning. I'm adding 9 again. It doesn't matter, guys. At the index 10, this 9 element will be stored. At the index 0, 9 will be there. At the index 10 also 9 will be there. It will not ignore the duplicates. Rather, it will print it. You see, 9 got printed here twice. That means duplicates are allowed in the array list, guys, because this 9 is stored at this 9 is a different 9 because it's stored at the index 0, whereas this 9 is a different 9 because it's stored at the index 10. That's the reason duplicates are allowed. Duplicates are allowed. Then get of index. Okay. The next command is to retrieve these elements from the array list. We can use get command, guys. How means system.out.println a list dot get of a list dot object reference of the array list dot get of. This object reference of the array list, similar to using the add method, right? We have to use get method. Here we have to provide the index, guys. If you hover the mouse on this, you'll get, you have to pass index here. Okay. Get of int. Int is the index here. index value you have to pass here, guys, or while you are typing, you can get to know that dot get off. You see, you have to pass the int index. Okay, you can clearly see that if I give something like 5 here, randomly some 5 at the index 5, which element is there, that will be retrieved. Okay, the get method will retrieve the element that is stored at the index 5 in this particular array list. You see at the index 5, this is the index 5, guys. At the index 5, which element is stored? 3. 3 will be retrieved and printed, guys. Using the get method, we can retrieve whatever the element we want from the array list, guys. Okay, we can retrieve whatever the element we want from the array list. So 3 got printed here, as you can see, clearly see 3 got printed. So get of index method is there in the array list, but we don't have the get method in the hash set. Okay, and the traditional for loop we can use. Okay, instead of using this one, right, I'll write some for loop, right? For int I is equal to 0, index I is equal to 0, index I is equal to 0, I less than a list dot size, then semicolon I plus if I write. Okay, now run this system dot out at println a list. Okay, a list dot get off index I have to give. If I give the value I here, you see I can use the traditional for loop here. Because of the indexing concept, we can use this traditional for loop in I is equal to 0, index is equal to 0, I less than a list dot size. The size of the array list, what is the size of the array list? 0 to 10 means 11. I less than 11. 0 to 10. It will iterate from 0 to 10 because I less than 11 means up to 10 it will iterate. And every time it iterates, right, a list dot get off. In the first iteration, I will be 0. Get off 0 means 9 will be retrieved and printed. Then in the next iteration, index of 1, I will become 1 and 7 will be retrieved. Like that till 9 it will be printing, guys. You can print like this. We can use a traditional for loop in the array list, but we cannot use this traditional for loop which uses the indexing concept for iterating all the elements in the array list. In the hash set we cannot use because in hash set we don't have indexing concept. Okay, so here we have the traditional for loop and we don't have the traditional for loop in the hash set. And the parent interface of the array list is the list interface, right? You can create an object for the array list and assign to the object reference of list interface like this. So okay, because list is a parent interface of the array list class, and import it. And you see it's working fine. I'll just copy this list here. Generally, a lot of people, developers will write like this only. Instead of writing array list, a list is equal new array list, they will be writing list is equal new array list. So get used to it, guys. Okay. The parent interface of the array list class is the list interface, guys. You can use list.add and all the stuff. You can use a list also, but it's better to use list here. For reading purpose, it will be good. Okay. You run this code, you'll not get any differences, guys. It will be working fine. You see, these are the differences between the array list. Here, list interface is the parent interface of the array list, guys. Okay. And the common things I'm not going to cover, guys. Grandparent is of the array list is collection interface. Has said grandparent is collection interface. Here, add method is common thing. To add the elements in the array list, same add method. To add the elements in the hash set, same add method. We can use a for each loop with both array list and hash set. We can use iterator method and iterator interface are iterating between array list and hash set elements. Okay. These are the common things I'm not going to cover because in this session I have to cover only the differences. Now let's go to the hash set example, guys. I covered all the differences of array list with the hash set here, but let me practically demonstrate the hash set also. For hash set, guys, hash set demo, I'll say, and with main method I'll create, and inside the main method, guys, inside the main method, write down hash set HSet is equal to new hash set. Like this, you can create an object for the hash set and Control Shift O, guys. It will be automatically imported from java.util package. And here generic type we have to provide. Otherwise, the warning messages will come in the generic type. We have to provide which type of elements you want to add. Okay. And I'll do one thing. I'll just copy all these elements, guys. Copy all these elements. Okay. Just to save the time, I'm copying all the elements, guys. Okay. Why to give the elements again? Here, indexing concept will not be there, guys. Here, indexing concept won't be there while you are adding the elements to the hash set. Using the same add method, we can add the elements to the hash set. That's why I copy pasted here. I'll remove all these comments here. I'll remove all the comments. Just to take the same examples of these elements, right? I just copy pasted. So what if I add the same list of elements in the array list, and what if I add the same list of elements in the hash set? There should not be any difference. Okay, that's what I mean to say. And here, HashSet dot add, you have to say using the object reference of the HashSet class. We have to call these methods, guys. We have to call these methods using the object reference of the HashSet class. Okay, like this. Once this is done, now the things come. Okay, there is no indexing concept. First thing is that this particular element is not stored at the index 0 or something like that. There is no indexing concept. You see, there is no indexing concept, and the elements that you are storing into this hash set will be stored in a random order, guys. They will not be stored in the same order in which you have added. If you try to print the object reference of the hash set, you'll get that in the output. You see, the order in which you have added elements to the HashSet, they will not be stored here. You see, you added 9 here, but the first element is coming as 17, then 2. Then 2 somewhere here it is added, but it's coming in the second position. Then 3, then 99, 5, 22, 134, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So that means that here random order, guys, this is neither ascending order nor descending order. It is a random order. So here the thing here is random order. Okay. The elements in the HashSet will be stored in the random order. We don't know in which order they will be stored, but it will be stored in some random order. Then duplicates are ignored, guys. For example, here, along with this 9, at the end also I added one more 9. But out of these 2 9s, how many 9s got saved in the memory of this HashSet? 1, 2, 3. You see, here 17 is there, 2 is there, 99, 5, 22, 134, 7, 8. Only 1 9 is there. But how many elements I'm adding to the HashSet using that method? 2 times. But only 1 is there. So duplicates got ignored. You will not get any compiler error or runtime error when you run the program. Okay. But only 1 will be considered out of this duplicate elements. Okay. Then there is no get command, guys. We cannot access these elements that got added to the HashSet with the help of get command like the system.out.println, system.out.println, HashSet.get command is not there, guys. Get class and all those things are there, but get command is not there. So we cannot use a get command, guys. We cannot use a get command. So there is no get command here in the HashSet. We have get of index in the array list, but we don't have any get command in the HashSet. Then here traditional for loop we can use. Here we cannot use traditional for loop, guys, because there is no indexing concept. I cannot write for int I is equal to 0, I less than, I cannot write. If I still want to iterate through this HashSet, right, we have to go with the for each loop, guys. That's the only way. For each and every element in this HashSet is of integer type. So integer e colon the name of the object reference of the HashSet and print it out. This is the for each loop, guys, enhanced for loop, but we cannot use this for each loop. We can also use with ArrayList, but in ArrayList traditional for loop also we can use, but that traditional for loop using index values and all we cannot use in the HashSet. But if you want to still iterate, you have to use a for each loop that can even be used with ArrayList also. Okay. So right click run as Java application and observe that all the elements of the HashSet will be printed here. So if there is no traditional for loop here, the parent of the HashSet is a set interface, guys. The parent of the HashSet is the set interface. You can create an object for the HashSet and assign to the variable of the set interface. Okay, here I'll write set here. Generally, people will write set is equal to new HashSet, guys. They will not write HashSet set is equal to new HashSet. They will not write. Okay, so most of the developers will write set is equal to new HashSet. Okay, object cannot be created for the interfaces in Java. So objects will be creating from the child classes and assigning them to the object reference of the parent interfaces. There in the case of ArrayList, we have the list as a immediate parent interface, whereas in case of HashSet, we have the set as a parent interface. Now run this code and see that it will work fine. Sorry, here as this set, yes, correct, working fine correctly. Okay, fine. Okay, so these are the differences between the ArrayList and HashSet in Java, guys. So hope, guys, with this practical explanation and practical explanation and practical demonstration and theoretical explanation, hope you got the answer for this question. I'll update this image with this image. I'll update this image with this image so that you will have the perfect image in this example. Okay, Control Z. Let me Control X. Yeah, here I'll write the diagram here, guys. I'll just put the diagram here. Okay, so that you can have that in the notes. You can have this diagram in the notes, guys. Where is this coming? Okay, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Yeah, fine. I just want to maximize it. That's it. Fine. Okay. So these are the differences between the ArrayList and HashSet in Java, guys, and with practical demonstration and theoretical explanation, we answered this question for you. So that's all for this session, guys. Hope you got the answer for this question. That's all. Bye, everyone. See you in the next session. Bye.